The guard is looking for the prisoner, but he doesn't know that the man is hiding behind him. He was copying the guard's steps and movements, doing what he was doing as if he were a shadow. The guards sensed that someone was nearby, but they couldn't find him. In order to escape from this prison, the man practiced invisibility, and after 4 attempts, he finally accomplished it. The first time, he used a simple method. He simply took off his shoes to avoid making noise when he walked. Then he looked around the cell to find the guards' blind spots. When the guards came to check the cell, they realized that the prisoner who was supposed to be in the cell had disappeared. They hurriedly opened the door and looked around. The guards thought the prisoner would use some high-end method, but they didn't realize that he just hid in the corner. Faced with the guards' warning, the man did not pay any attention to it, but continued to look for a way to hide. This time, he stared at the cell wall to make sure that he stood firmly. He began to climb upward until he grabbed the edge of the window above. When the guards came to check the cell again, they found that this guy was playing hide-and-seek again, so they called out to the prisoners. When no one answered, he was furious and opened the cell door. He expected the prisoner to hide in the corner again, but was surprised to find that he was nowhere to be found. But he quickly reacted and immediately looked towards the cell door, not realizing that he was hiding up there. Because the human eye's field of vision is only 180 degrees, he uses this to measure the limit of his own eyesight so that he can hide in the blind spot of the human eye. This is the key to practicing the stealth technique. As long as you can hide behind the guard silently and avoid the other side's 180-degree field of vision, you will be able to achieve a certain degree of invisibility. Of course, you have to practice your footwork so that you don't make a sound when you walk. After practicing day in and day out, the advanced version of the stealth technique was finally perfected. The only thing left to do was to experiment. When the guards came to check on him, they found that he had disappeared again. But when he walked in, there was only one piece of clothing left on the floor. The guard looked around and realized he wasn't down there, so he looked up again, but the result was the same. He had no choice but to look around, not realizing that he was right behind him. The man was following the guard's footsteps in a ghostly fashion, dodging rhythmically. After a careful search, but still did not see the man. Slowly, prison guards began to be a little afraid of not seeing ghosts. Obviously, they felt that it is nearby but cannot be found. However, he soon realized that something was wrong and a shadow appeared on the ground out of thin air. In the face of the guards' beatings and insults, the man was still wearing a smug smile on his face. With this experience, he drew an eye on his hand and imagined that it was the guard's point of view. This time, he not only had to imitate his opponent's steps but also had to guess what was going on in his mind. Only by keeping his body in sync with his could he truly be unnoticeable. With continuous practice, his stealth has become more and more perfect. Now he can't be found anywhere in the cell. Will the guards find him this time? As usual, the guard came to check the cell and found that this guy had disappeared again. Then he opened the door in anger and walked in. I thought that this time the other side will be like before to hide behind, but after a round of searching, when suddenly a hand slap, the next second was a man punched down to the ground. Now the guards are really scared away. The other side, like a ghost, is completely unseen and cannot. But before the man could escape from the prison, he was released. After his release from prison, he returned to the home of his favorite person. Although she already has a husband, but it does not matter. He has the invisibility spell. The man with the glasses heard his wife's words of love and thought she had changed her mind and immediately embraced him. But in fact, she was speaking to the man, and so the three of them engaged in an unprecedented love triangle. The next day, the woman woke up early and prepared a big table of breakfast. All the men loved to eat. When it came time to eat, the man with the glasses was very happy because his wife finally had a smile on her face. But at the same time, he felt a chill on his back. The husband was very strange, so he looked back and found that there was no one. When he turned around and came back to the other side of the man silently, no matter how hard the other side of the search is not able to find him. In the food gap between the two, do not forget to look at the eyes of love with the eyes to say to each other's love. So in the days that followed, the three of them lived together like this. But of course, the man with the glasses would never know.